Format of tonight's meeting is our speaker will share for 15 to 20 minutes. After that, we'll pick names out of the hat and you'll be invited to share from the floor. We ask that you keep bad language to a minimum. Sharing time will finish at 9 o'clock. The final part of the meeting is reserved for CA announcements. That just leaves me to introduce you to James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm an addict.
Hello, James.
Wow. Right. So, my story. It's the second show I've ever done, so just bear with me. I might be stopping and starting a lot. My childhood was pretty normal, really. Like, I had both my parents. No abuse or anything nasty, I guess. No one's had like a drug problem in my family or a drink problem, apart from me, obviously. It was just a normal nice childhood, like going on holidays, and I don't know, I spent a lot of time with my dad doing bits and bobs and stuff like that, and my mum and dad broke up, they divorced when I was 12, and that was pretty nasty. Had quite a lot of resentments towards my dad for some of the stuff he did, and just used me as a bit of a pawn in like a game of getting back at my mum, and I really held on to a lot of resentments over that. But I don't anymore because I've done this. I didn't start using drugs or drinking till I was 13. Was getting absolutely paralytic in a field somewhere when I was supposed to be out doing something or other with my friends, as you do, drinking that Tesco's own value vodka that was like nail varnish remover. It was horrible. But I still carried on drinking it, like it was going out of fashion, just drinking it just neat. All my friends would be having ciders and stuff, and I just wouldn't. I could have a couple, but it just wasn't. It wasn't for me. Like I couldn't do like the soft sort of side of things. Like it was just all or nothing. Sort of progressed to smoking weed when I was probably about 15, I think. It just sort of it's like what they say, isn't it? Like it just progresses. Like you smoke weed and you start like dabbling with MDMA and uppers and things like that, and it just. I guess everything was pretty normal. Like if you think going down the road of addiction is normal, but it was just a pretty normal childhood, I guess. Like with I had a girlfriend when I was in school that was sort of off and on, and that really. I think I had like abandonment issues with my dad because he just disappeared. The way my mind works, like my short-term memory is absolutely appalling. Like I can't remember like conversations I had like an hour ago, but like things from years ago, like I can recall things like really well, and it's like reliving things. And like things that happened with my dad, like I can still remember like people's faces that were staring at us when he was screaming at me, driving me to my nan's house in his van, because my mum had taken something out of the house, because we ended up, after they split up, we went and lived with my nan, because we were a bit scared of him, and hang on, I've lost my train of thought, hang on, it's coming back. Lived with my nan for until she passed away. With my mum, I haven't really seen my dad since I was about 17 because of everything. It was just it was definitely something I blamed my using on. My mum and dad splitting up. It really was. I think it sort of all changed really when I started doing methadone back in the legal high days. So I can still smell it Good God, walk around smelling like cat urine days on end. But yeah, it's just utter madness. And I can remember the first time I did it, I was ill for about a week and a half after doing that, and it was so bad that I just wanted to do it again. As soon as I felt better, that was it. Bosh, I'm straight back on it. And it was just that cycle. Like, even though things were bad, and like smoking weed, like, it used to make me paranoid, and like I could hear things that weren't there or see things that weren't there, but I still kept on doing it, and I just couldn't grasp why the things I didn't like to do, or I knew that weren't good for me, I couldn't stop myself from doing. You know, it was just a bit of a cycle, really. But yeah, so like 17, I started doing MCAT, and uppers is really sort of my thing. I've done like ketamine and stuff, but I didn't really enjoy it. Yeah, it was just hopeless. It was just pathetic, really. Some of the situations I got myself into, and it's just pathetic, really. That's all I could really. I wish I could tell you that I had all these really good using stories, and that I used to go and jet around the world and do this, that, and the other. And it just wasn't like that, really. It was just using on my own in the end, because I just didn't want to share it with anyone. You know, locking myself in my room for 4 or 5 days and going to work and being in like so much psychosis that I was like holding on to I was a machinist at the time. I was holding on to the machine, trying to stop myself from falling in it, because I was sort of like in and out of consciousness, like just could not stop myself from using, and it was just, I couldn't see any way out from it. I thought, obviously I didn't think I was an addict. I thought I just had like mental health issues, so I went to the doctors and been prescribed antidepressants for I don't know how many years, which I'm now coming down off, which is a good thing, I guess. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it if I was still using, because I'd hide my using by saying I was depressed. So then every time I got found out, I'd go, oh, I'm depressed. Oh. And then I'd be straight to the doctors, boom, there you go, you can have another 50 mils of that, you can have another 50 mils, and then before you know it, you're maxing out on antidepressants, trying to hide the using, and, you know, it's just such a blessing that my life has turned out how it is now, you know. This was the first meeting I came to. I can remember pulling up in my drinks delivery van in the car park in my big Mercedes Sprinter. And I can't remember how early I got it. I can remember sitting in there. It felt like I was there for hours, shaking. It was, it was probably one of the hardest things I'd ever done. Because you come into somewhere and you're so broken and you've just got nothing. You've absolutely, like, it just wasn't, there was nothing. I had nothing going for me. I had no real friends. I had no real relationships with anyone. I was just absolutely hopeless, but I had a little bit of courage, and that courage got me here, and I am so grateful that it got me here, because I really couldn't see myself living anymore, I guess. I think I was in that sort of state where I was sort of driving along, and we're driving to Cardiff with a full van, thinking, I could just I could just pull over, I could just a little swerve, and it looked like an accident. And it was just, you know, no one's going to care if I'm not here. And you just got no, like, my self-worth was just an all-time low. But I come in here and I had all these smiling faces and all these people going, oh, you're all right, mate? Yeah, what's your name, Jake? Yeah, nice to meet you, yeah, give us a hug. And I come in, you're doing this little prayer, and I thought, oh no. what kind of cult have I walked into? Starting chanting and going, you know, I was real standoffish. I have to admit, like this whole God thing and that. But Jesus, it's good to have got a camera on it, isn't it? But yeah, I come in here and I listen. I can't remember who it was sharing, and I can remember almost feeling like a dream that I'd been here. And I can remember getting back in my van, phoning my mum. Oh, I'm so happy I found my people. And you know, been on your own for so long. It's just amazing that people, you know, you're with people that you enjoy being with, and you haven't got to watch people want to like use you for something, or there's some, you know, or why is he being my friend? Like, there's no like standoffish things about it. It's just decent people that just want the best for you, just to be clean, sober, and happy. Really, isn't it? It's just you won't find that anywhere else. You really won't. But yeah, I got a sponsor. My first meeting. I didn't really have much choice. Just put his hand out and said, "I'm Richard, I'm your sponsor." I said, "Okay, fair enough." I didn't even know what a sponsor was. Poor bloke. I had to keep coming back, I think, every week to get a white key ring because I just could not grasp it. I don't know, I think I counted, I got about 30 of them. So if anyone wants any, just let me know, I'll bring them back. But yeah, it was... So I started going through the steps, and I can remember the first time I went to my sponsor's house, I was on a massive come down. I'd been off it for 2 days, and the first thing was, "Are you powerless to it?" Well, evidently. And I started doing the steps, having a little bit of trouble trying to keep clean. I guess I was just me. It was like saying goodbye to a friend, I guess, like my drug. It sounds weird to say it, but I guess when you haven't really got many friends, you start seeing your drugs as your friend, because they give you that bit of happiness, that chemical happiness. But it's not the real happiness you get with people. But yeah, I've worked through the steps. I've gone through all of them now. Well, apart from 12, it's like an ongoing thing, I guess. And it's just changed my life. Like from where I was, about a year ago now, I think, to where I am now. Like the person I am now is just unbelievable. For someone that couldn't understand why that I'd be driving to my dealer's house crying because I didn't want to use, because I knew where it would take me. I knew the hurt I would put myself in, and everyone else, my mum, my girlfriend at the time, and I just couldn't turn that steering wheel around. Every ATM or cash machine from here to Boscombe didn't take my card, so I couldn't get any cash out, which has got to be a sign from someone. And I still couldn't do it. Every single cash point from here to Boston, like, you just can't write it. And I just couldn't turn the steering wheel around just to go home. Because all I wanted to do was just go home. And I just didn't have the power. I was just completely powerless. And it's so surreal when you think that you're in control of your life, but you can't direct it how you want to, because there's something, which is the drugs, pulling you away from the path you should be taking. You know, but if you're new, like, it's just, I don't want to say it's easy to do this, but I'm lazy. I am so lazy. Like, I just want to take the easiest way of doing anything. And all you've got to do is find someone you click with. If he says do something, you say okay. Yeah. If he tells you to do something, just do it. Well, it was for me anyway. If it worked for him, it worked for me. But yeah, it's just weird. Like I couldn't even, when I first come here, I just couldn't even look at anyone. I was just on the floor, hunched over, and like talking to people was just such a challenge. It really, and I'm sat in front of everyone now, like trying to make sense of what I'm talking about, and it's going here, there, and everywhere I know, but like it's just mad. That's what it's given me. Like I've got a decent job. I've had to cut people out that weren't good for me, and I've got like self-worth, you know. And I'm happy with myself. I can look at myself in the mirror and not have to hide from what I see. And I think that's like the main thing, is I'm happy with my own reflection. And I think that's quite a big thing, because when you hate yourself for so many years and you just despise what you see, to be able to look at yourself in a reflection's a pretty magical thing. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.